Today's episode is sponsored by the American Homebrewers Association. Become a part of the U.S.'s largest community of homebrewers for just $48 a year by going to unitedwedrink.com/AHA. What exactly do you get with your AHA membership? How about a year-long subscription to Zymergy Magazine, the world's longest-running homebrew magazine? Exclusive deals and discounts at over 2,000 breweries, bars, and bottle shops across America. Discounts on Brewers publication books and merchandise. Access to a huge library of previous HomebrewCon seminars and talks. And early access to purchasing tickets to each year's Great American Beer Festival and Savor. Sign up now by going to unitedwedrink.com/AHA and get a year's membership for just $48. And if you sign up now, you'll get a free gift. What's that gift? I'm not saying. You need to go see for yourself. It's pretty great. Support United We Drink, support homebrewing, and support the American Homebrewers Association at unitedwedrink.com/AHA. The opinions and statements in this podcast do not represent those of the host's employers, co-workers, family, or imaginary friends. Now enjoy the show.
Happy hour? More like amateur hour. Welcome to United We Drink.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the show that is jealous that it hasn't had John Laffler on it yet. Welcome to United We Drink, right here on unitedwedrink.com, as well as Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, Google Podcasts, Amazon Music, and wherever fine podcasts are found. My name is Mikey Revich, and I'm feeling recharged and refreshed. I'm good for another episode or so before needing another break. And joining me today, as always, is a man who was not invited to Phil's wedding a few years ago. Here's Joel Codner.
Wow, that's a curveball to throw at me. And oh, man. I thought you were going to say something about my month off, which was not very eventful and flew by pretty fast. I feel like we never really stopped.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest, from just a personal standpoint, it felt great to take that month or so off and just like not worry, because I took the time off from the other podcasts that I do as well. So this is my first time touching Audacity since then, and it felt good to be able to just relax on days that I came home, make dinner, watch a little TV. The time change was fucking me up for a while, but I think I've finally gotten it down. I swear the first week and a half, I was awake past 10 o'clock once.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know what, it hit me harder than I feel like it ever has as an adult.
I felt the same way, but I felt like it kept me up longer because the sun was out longer. Like, that really fucked me up. It was very weird having a very long day at work and then going outside and the sun was still up, because, you know, I started there in December, so like most nights I was, we have long days anyway, so most nights, I was walking outside and it was dark out, and then I'm like, what the fuck, is it still daytime?
Yeah, I personally like when it gets dark early. I'd be completely okay if that was the way it was all the time. I know I'm in the very small minority of people who like that, but for summer, I kind of get it. It's kind of nice to have the little bit longer bits of daylight. It does kind of just say to me, summer, hot, but down here where it is hot for majority of the year, probably 8 months out of the year, it doesn't have a cool feeling like it does somewhere where there's 4 seasons. Like, somewhere where there's like that, yeah, a summer like that really makes you feel summer. But it's already, we're having probably our last cool weekend here in Florida. It was hot during the week. It was hot last week, and it's just going to get worse.
How many listeners do you think are just like reaching for the dial right now to, skip to the next podcast?
All of them. All of them.
I always feel so weird whenever discussion devolves to weather. It feels like it's just we've lost all hope and there's nothing else to talk about.
How's the weather?
And that's the beginning of the podcast.
Hey, airline food. How about that? What are you drinking for our first show back, Joel?
I've got a bottle of Miller High Life right here. Nice, crystal clear golden ale. Sorry, lager. Wow. And I also have a can of Polar Seltzer, lime flavored, as backup.
Oh. I am having an Odd Breed Dinkel Wheat, a dry hopped farmhouse ale that was brewed with spelt and Cascade hops, aged in French oak barrels. That is excellent.
It's like the polar opposite of what I'm drinking.
It's just a 5.5% slightly tart saison with a good dry hopping. Like, I know I'm a big fan of dry hopping sours, and our friend Matt over at Odd Breed is really good at this.
I also feel like he had one of the only, semi-solid April Fool's Day things, posts from a brewery, because so many of them are like, oh, we're doing, some fucking, turkey sour ale or some bullshit like, a food you think would never be in a beer, but like beer has gotten so extreme and so stupid that none of these April Fool's jokes, like, they seem like they're actually possible.
I was reading it, and at first was like, the very first line, like, we didn't go out to hop selection last year, unfortunately. I'm like, why the fuck would a sour brewer be going to hop selection anyway? And then I kept reading. I'm like, oh, I get what he was going for here.
Yeah, for those listening who have no idea what the hell we're talking about, you can look at Odd Breed Wild Ales on Instagram. But basically, what they did was said they were doing marshmallow harvest, and there was someone photoshopped like a plant that had marshmallows growing on the twigs and branches, and it was actually like funny to me because it was like we know that's not real. But like when I see someone's horse shit flavor post, I'm like, yeah, that might actually happen. Like we've seen burgers and fries in beers, so it's like when fucking who was it? Heinz Ketchup said they were collaborating with Ocean Spray to make Cravy, which is like cranberry gravy, and somehow the jar they photoshopped like actually looked like brown with this reddish hue. It was actually like a good Photoshop, but like, you guys just announced like more fucking mashed up flavors, so why would we think you wouldn't do Cravy? Like, cranberry and gravy, a lot of people have those together on these types of holidays, so like, you already have mayo chup and cranch, and what the, like, it was like avocado oily or sriracha-y, something like.
Yeah.
So these fucking April Fool's jokes are barely, a parody now.
Yeah, there wasn't many of them that really got me. I did like the Yinglings, the artwork and the mock-ups that they did for the Pierogi Pilsner and the Potato Chip IPA, because they also used real brands like Mrs. T's Pierogies and Utz chips. So it looked really good and professional, but I immediately knew it was a joke. I was just blown away by the amount of people who were disappointed that our April Fool's joke was a joke.
What was ours?
Ours meaning the brewery that I work for.
Oh, sorry. I thought you meant like a United You Drink.
We did we posted a picture of a pretty much blue water and said that it was miracle berry, blueberry, agua, and it was a still, because people don't like carbonation, non-alcoholic beverage that was mildly dry hopped with 0.25 ounces of Galaxy. And I also said that it's dank and fruity and kind of okay. And so many people were like, oh, that would be awesome. Like, you want still fruity NA water? Like,
yes, they do.
Yeah.
Everyone wants stupid bullshit.
Yeah. And then it was people trying to guess what it actually was. And honestly, it was completely consumable. It was just a little bit of like this blue powder that's used to like dye food in water. You could drink it. It was fine. People are like, it's line cleaner. It's Windex.
Yeah, I thought it was Windex. I also love that color too because I'm such a blue raspberry Slurpee fan, like since I'm a kid. And it's funny, earlier when I posted that picture of the pack of Seagram's Italian Ice seltzers or FMBs, whatever they were, someone was trying to tell me like blue raspberry sucks because it's not a real flavor. I'm like, that's why it's the greatest, because it transcends reality. It's not real.
It is a completely made up flavor. Because it's not real?
What?
That's a terrible argument.
I'm saying, like, because it's created by man, it's not one of these other horseshit fruits that were just sitting there. Like, we made this shit in a lab, and it's amazing.
I get that. I don't know why someone goes, I don't like it because it's not real. Like,
oh yeah,
almost no television shows are real too. So do you not like those because they're not real? Get the fuck out of here.
It's like when someone loves like the actual fruit in a milkshake, and it's like, no, I want that like radioactive yellow banana shake from Checkers. I don't want chunks of unripe fucking banana in my milkshake. That stringy bullshit.
Yeah, you wouldn't want to blend up banana like that. All right, so for our first episode back, we're gonna do something cool, but we're gonna get to that in just a bit. Terrible segue. Just this past week, the Brewers Association released their 2020 top 50 brewers by production. And I feel like as a beer podcast, or as Phil would have liked to call us, a beverage podcast, we would be remiss if we didn't talk about some of this. And a lot of the tops were no surprise. They pretty much stayed the same. And we know 2020 was a fucking shit show of a year anyway. But there were some change ups and things, some jumpers, some companies that made big leaps in things. Specifically, Phil's own brewery that he works for, Canarchy. Well, it wasn't a huge jump, but they moved up to the number 6 spot on the craft list with the whole Canarchy contingent over there. And like, I'm looking at some of the notes here. Like, we saw Trogs jump 7 spots. Three Floyds jumped 6 spots. Long Trail jumping 6 spots. And we had like some newcomers to the whole list, like Brewdog USA, Toppling Goliath, Fremont Brewing, Montauk Brewing, Creature Comforts, and New Holland all coming into the top 50 for the first time. What did you think about the list, if anything?
This is actually the first time I'm looking at the list.
Congratulations.
Yeah, I just, in this kind of it just doesn't interest me. But I find
right,
it
moving on.
fascinating. Well, I do find it fascinating that Canarchy made it all the way to 6. I mean, I remember like Cigar City being on the list for years when I used to read it, and you see them creeping up slowly. I feel like I might have seen them in like I don't even remember what number it was, but like top 10. Holy shit!
Yeah, and there's a few others like artisanal brewing ventures. I sometimes forget about them. That's the collective of Victory, 6 Point, and Southern Tier sitting right there at 8th overall. These are breweries that probably most people down here in South Florida don't really bat an eye at, but I mean, in their home markets, they're big. I know, especially from my time living in Philly, Victory is huge there, and a lot of them are really well respected throughout the country. Have a great reach on things. Still, New Glarus 12, still only distributed in Wisconsin.
That's mind blowing to me when I look at just a few of the breweries down the line from them and how far their reach is. I mean, Brooklyn, Harpoon, Abita, and for them to be behind them, that is nuts.
Yeah.
That makes me want to go to Wisconsin even more. That makes me feel like no matter where I go, I'm going to see that beer.
Yeah. I remember that the one time that I have been to Wisconsin, hopefully not the last time I go to Wisconsin. I loved Milwaukee a lot. It was so easy to find New Glarus stuff, including the sour beers. I felt like I was kind of in heaven, like going to a Piggly Wiggly and seeing like Serendipity and Belgian Red and what's the other? Fuck, I can't remember.
Raspberry Tart.
There we go. Just like on the shelves there, readily available. Like shit, man. We used to like trade like to get this, and it's just so all over the place. I mean, I'm not shitting on that. It's just so cool to me that a brewery like that can make stuff like that year round, and in these rankings be the 12th craft brewery by production in the country, and they're only in one state.
I don't know if there's anyone who does fruit beer better than them. I mean, those fruit beers are just they're on another level. Like it's not that horseshit smoothie stuff, and even the ones that are like heavily fruited still feel like less thick than a goddamn Lindemann's Framboise, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
they're so fucking well balanced, but full of flavor. They're just incredible. Last time I was in Wisconsin, I was actually driving back from Milwaukee with my dad, and that was the night they caught Jeffrey Dahmer.
Oh, really?
We were like, holy shit, we were just in that area.
That's a fucking great story. I'm looking down this list, your claim like best fruit beers in the game, and there are breweries on this list that make fruity beers, that make sours that are fruit forward, but I can't think of anything out of any of these that is like on that level. I not to take anything away from anyone, but yeah, they're on another level, possibly by themselves, with those fruit beers.
Good for that. I mean, I'm also excited to see some breweries that are relatively new, compared to the company they're in, like Rheingeist or Creature Comforts, and we've met those guys, and they're super cool and nice and make such good fucking beer. So, to see them make the list, and I mean, I know it feels like time's flying by, man, but, they haven't been around as long as, Sierra Nevada and, Christ, even Cigar City.
Yeah. I was a little surprised, even though this wasn't their first time in there, and they're the 28th ranked brewery. It was Georgetown Brewing in Seattle, who they make Manny's Pale Ale, and I forget what their IPA is off the top of my head. But when I was in Seattle, like Manny's Pale Ale was everywhere. And I remember hearing an interview with one of their owners on Good Beer Hunting maybe a year or two ago, how it wasn't until recent that they went to packaging. They were draft only, distribution only for practically over 10 years. Like they didn't have a tasting room. They had a store that you could buy kegs from, I think it was, but they didn't package. They just draft only. And they were killing it up there. Manny's Pale Ale is a fucking excellent beer. And I'm trying to stall for time so I can try to find what the IPA is. And someone's probably yelling it at me via this right now. And it is... Oh crap, their website. Bodhisattva. Awesome IPA. Awesome IPA. But yeah, there's some people on here doing excellent stuff. Shout out to friend of the show, Eric from Toppling Goliath, and congratulations on getting into the top 50 now.
Hell yeah.
When I heard him on Bitter Units, I was stunned by the number of barrels that they made when he said that. I was like, shit, really?
But did that include BrewHub?
They don't use BrewHub anymore.
Okay.
They haven't apparently for a year and a half, 2 years or something like that. He talked about that on the show. They have like a 50 barrel production facility now. That's like down the street from their original brewery, and they're just cranking. So cheers to them. Cheers to everyone who is on the list of the newcomers. The top 5 still remain Yingling, Boston Beer, Sierra Nevada, Duvel Mortgott, and Gambrinus, who is Shiner.
And here's a question I don't mean in any disrespectful way. Who the hell is Matt Brewing Company? Out of Utica, New York?
Saranac.
Oh, okay. Because I'm like, I went up and down the list, and I'm like, I've heard of everybody on this list. I had no idea who the hell Matt Brewing Company was.
Yeah, that's always been the official company name. They also do a bunch of contract brewing. For a while, I don't know if they still are. They were doing a lot of Brooklyn's core line up there. I'm not sure if they still are. And I want to say they were doing some of 6 Point stuff for a little while. That's probably not the case anymore. Probably because now they have so much access to Southern Tier and Victory. Victory has like 4 breweries. But yeah, they do a lot of, remember Bison beer?
Yeah.
They own that brand. But yeah, Saranac is the big stuff for them.
I do wish that this list on the BA website were a little more, like you could kind of drill down into the data and compare, like side by side this year and last year next to each other, and
yeah,
even click on breweries and see their, incline or decline.
Yeah, if they had another column next to it that said like previous ranking, to see like who moved up, who moved down, what that previous number was. Have them color coded, like green for rise, red for fall or something, and newcomers can be like a different color. Yeah, that would be pretty cool.
And right now the listeners are yelling at the radio going, what the fuck, Joel? You started this segment by saying you don't read this list and you don't give a shit about it. Now you want more info.
Opinions change.
That's how I evolve, and I can do it in mere minutes.
Yeah. So let's get into what we came here to do. Joel came up with this idea while we were taking the break that when we come back from our hiatus, we should do an episode that is just nothing but last calls. For those of you who are new to the show or just are not familiar with the term, last calls,
or don't make it to the end of the show.
Yeah. Last calls are what we do on the end of the show, where we give each other just unspecified amount of time to just voice ourselves for whatever topic we want to. And usually it is unopposed and uninterrupted, because it would be silly to just say things without the other person being able to chime in and have a conversation about for the next 30 minutes or so. We're breaking that part of the rule for this, but we're going to give each other some time to voice our concerns about things and then maybe discuss them afterwards. If we don't just go, yeah, samesies. And because this was Joel's idea, I feel like it's only fitting that he start things off. He always has good last calls. So, Joel, the pulpit's
and also
yours.
part of the reason I wanted to do this was because since we spent a month, I mean, we talk to each other every day through text and everything, but the typing gets tedious, and sometimes you'll be sitting there at work. Like, I'll have imaginary conversations in my head all fucking day. Like, and I'm starting to, like, I'll be, something will be happening at work, or I'll read about something, and I'm thinking about, like, what we would say if we were on the podcast together talking about it. So I had, like, rants in my head for a month. I should have wrote half of them down. But, yeah, so, I thought this would be fun and something kind of simple and laid back and kind of giving more of ourselves and not just trying to be so straight-laced and cover the news or, talk about this beer or that beer, but just, be a couple of guys, bullshitting. So, first thing I thought was a pretty big deal is we lost Worst Beer Blog this week. He finally had enough and nuked his account. I guess he's on social media in some form on a personal account, but I don't know what that is. I don't think most people do. And apparently he had just had enough. And reading his stuff, I never really realized that he probably gets a lot of shit from people. Like, I'd see the comments and I'd see arguments back and forth with people, but, like, I never really thought he would get, like, threats or anything like that. And he covered a lot. I mean, it wasn't just beer. It was bars, breweries, brewery personnel, all that kind of stuff. And apparently it just got to be too much and too toxic, and I totally understand it because that's, not nearly the same kind of notoriety or anything like that when I had my Intellectual Pooperty Instagram account where I was covering all things IP theft in the beer world. But, like, I did get a lot of shit from people, and the notifications and the distractions and the, oh, you should post this, I can't post it because I'd get in trouble or whatever. Just the constant, like, toxicity, both coming at you and, you spreading yourself. I mean, the shit just gets heavy, and it's a big reason why I had to just fucking nuke that account. And then someone else added an O to the username and picked up the baton and ran with it, and good for them. I hope they're not getting the kind of shit I did, but
They also don't post all that much.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's like, why waste the time on IP theft and stealing other people's artwork when your can's just going to explode anyway? But, I just wanted to say that I think he was doing a good thing. I don't really know what the original intent was or if it changed from the beginning. It'd be cool to get him on here and talk to him, but I don't really know how to get in touch with him. But one thing that bothered me about
Get in touch with Gemma. She's his publicist.
Well, one thing that did bother me about it, though, is all these people acting as if, someone else should take up the role, kind of like the new Intellectual Pooperty did, and, be the new Worst Beer Blog. And it's like, no, that, like, did you see what the MCU did to Captain America? Like, that guy's a fucking douchebag now. Like, no, like, there should not be a replacement worst beer blog. Like, if anything, it should be everyone. Everyone in this goddamn industry and around it who wants this industry to uphold the values and ethics and everything it claims to have. Everyone should be the new worst beer blog. And I don't want it to be this unfun, cutthroat, fucking everyone getting shitty with each other kind of culture. I don't want that, but I want breweries and brewers and beer fans and everybody to, you know, hold each other a bit more accountable. Because I've seen a lot of shit over the years, and it's like there's all these little white lies that we know exist. You know, we know what people are actually putting in their beer when they say it's something else. We've seen all kinds of breweries get caught doing things like, you know, claiming it's 1 ABV when it's actually lower. Just all kinds of horseshit. And, you know, it shouldn't be up to one person that we could just, you know, put it all on their shoulders. Like, I think everyone should be a little more open and honest and vocal about certain things.
Absolutely. It's a
it's
shame.
like, sorry, I was just going to say, like, if not now, when? When are you going to fucking, you know, say something? And, or just leave it up to, you know, someone else to do it so you could just, you know, do the easy part and just hit retweet and that's it?
It's a shame that we believe that we need like a deep throat or something like that in our industry, who is the person to expose things like this, when we should, like, I get both sides of it, and that it's kind of why I pick my battles. Is this industry is small, and it can impact future employment opportunities or current employment opportunities by speaking up about something. Like, you and I both work in a right to work state, and our bosses could fire us tomorrow for any reason, as long as it's not discrimination. And if some brewery decides they want to go and say, like, hey, these guys are being fucking assholes, even though what we're pointing out is justified and right and all of that, our bosses could feel pressured to be like, yeah, we don't want to deal with stuff like that. You guys got to go. And I think that there's some fear of that. Obviously, if I'm saying that, that's been a thing that's come across my mind. I tend to pick my battles with the IP thing, and I've certainly had people get mad at me for that, and whatever, fine. It is what it is. And the whole exploding cans thing is another one that I'll go to battle for till the day I die on it. But yeah, sometimes I think another thing is, I just don't have the patience for dealing with all the fucking notifications that would come with something like that. The fact that someone like Jeremy Danner goes to battle on all these political things, like, I don't know how he does it, because the amount of shit that he gets from people on a daily basis is enough to drive any person insane. And he just keeps on trucking. And dude, like I said, more power to you. But there's a lot that goes into it. And yeah, it is a shame that we need to have an anonymous person being the one who drops it. Maybe it's easier for him because he's not in the industry. He is not a person who works for a brewery or a distributor or a retailer. He works in refrigeration and stuff. And that's a thing that I think a lot of people also forget, is like, he's a fucking dude. He's a guy who he's a husband, he's a father. And like, it's kind of refreshing sometimes when I would see on his Instagram, on the stories, him posting, like, him just having a beer, enjoying a beer, like out camping with his family, raising money for his local Brewers Guild, and like doing stuff like that. Like, yeah, he might have been like the troll extreme for beer Twitter, and he was damn good at that. But he's also like a nice guy and a really well thought out guy who has a family and a life outside of Twitter and Instagram and Facebook and beer. And I'm happy for him. I'm happy that he can step away and get away from that. And he's probably still looking at certain stuff. Like you said, he's got accounts and can probably eat his popcorn. But glad that he doesn't have to see his DMs filling up and his just notifications lighting up with like people just tagging him, hey, where's Beer Blog? Look at this, look at this, look at this. Or people getting mad that he posted something. So good for him. And I hope that, yeah, maybe we can have him on the show and talk with him someday about some of it. And I still think that would be fucking awesome to have a beer with him someday and actually see him. If that ever happens, who knows? Maybe the show needs to go on a search for worst beer blog in LA someday.
He should write
first
a goddamn...
stop Golden Road.
Everyone was like, yeah, I'm pouring out a Golden Road heft tonight for worst beer blog. I think he should write a book. Like, the fucking stories he must have.
Yeah.
And, just kind of go through, start to finish. Like how it came about and all the craziness and, like, what finally did it. I mean, it'd be a fucking amazing story. And I would hate for it to just show up on someone's horseshit blog.
Yeah. So I'm going to start with something that I guess I can kind of pivot to out of all of this. And I'm going to pretty much do something that is the equivalent of subtweeting that he always loved to point out when people were subtweeting people. And some of this has to do with what we see on Twitter and internet culture in general, and that is this holier than thou piling on performative bullshit that goes on there. And what's even worse about some of that sometimes, I know Joel's gone off on this before, but it's even worse when you are aware of what you're doing and that it is no good and you still do it. I've been trying to make 2021 a year of self-improvement and positivity to myself personally. And doing so includes being able to admit issues that you have and try to fix them, try to change them. I've been a person who has held grudges like through most of my life just because. Like I was like, no, never surrender, never apologize, or never accept apologies from people who wronged you in certain fashions. And I'm trying to break away from that and be a more positive person and realize that people make mistakes. I make mistakes. Everyone makes mistakes. And a person should be able to atone for them, especially when they realize it and they feel bad for it and they work hard to try to better themselves. By saying that you know that being a person who piles on is performative and might not do anything positive in the long run, but you're just going to keep doing it anyway because why not, is not helpful. You have admitted that you have done something wrong, and that's an important step in all of this. But to just say, fuck it, is fucking shitty. To just be able to see that you're doing something negative, say that is negative, and just go, fuck it anyway, it's fun, or maybe one out of these 200 times it'll pay off. This is practically the definition of insanity, is doing something over and over again with expecting a different result. and you know that you're not getting a different result. So why keep on doing it? I challenge anyone out there to, if that's what you do and you're listening to this and you feel called out, good. Do something better with your life. Change yourself for the positive. Like, stop doing those things. Like, I get social causes, and I've said this before many times on the show. By all means, call out racism, real racism. Call out injustice, real injustice. Those things deserve to be talked about. But just silly little fucking things don't deserve you to pile on one schmo who has nothing better to fucking do with their life than to cruise their timeline in Twitter and be angry. Fuck that shit. Do something better. Don't hit reply. Don't hit retweet. Keep on fucking scrolling. Find something positive. Retweet a fucking cute video of a fucking dog. I'd much rather see that. So, yeah.
And I didn't want to interrupt you there, but fuck yeah, do you hold grudges? Because you put out that tweet on the United We Drink account earlier today about my washing machine. And I'm like, what the fuck are you, what washing machine? And you said that was something I said was background noise in an episode, and I really had to think about it, and like, I didn't even remember it, because it'd been so long since I've even recorded in that room. So I'm like, man, how the fuck did he remember that? And
I'm trying to get better. I'm trying.
And what's funny with you bringing up that topic is, like, you and I are very much like politically aligned and socially aligned and all those sorts of things. I feel like there's probably very little we disagree about in a lot of that stuff. And what's funny is, like, those people that you're talking about are probably very much the same way. It's just that, like, there are some people who are just so on the extreme, like people that I completely agree with, people that it's like, yes, you're absolutely right about this topic, but shut the fuck up. Like, sometimes it is just like, when I took those couple weeks off Twitter late last year and I just sat back and watched, I was like, holy shit, like, this is like one giant fucking acting class. Like, I feel like there are so many people I'm watching who are just voicing off on shit because, like, there's literally nothing else going off for them, or they want to score brownie points and shit like that. I mean, it's gotten so ingrained in my brain to expect that sort of dialogue and communication that I'll see or hear things, like, just, being out and about in real life, and immediately imagine someone, like, taking offense to this or, calling out that. I mean, I saw a woman working at a grocery store walking toward another employee and do that motion where, like, she's, using her hand to point, doing the finger guns, like, like that kind of sarcastic, I want to kill myself, shooting the gun at your own head thing with your hand. And they just kind of, like, looked at each other and smiled. And obviously, it's, that means, like, oh, it's a rough day or work is tough right now. And the other person understands. But, like, because of what we see online now, I imagined right when that happened, like, a customer going, like, how dare you? Like, my son shot himself and you've just triggered me. You know what I mean? Like, I see and hear things and I immediately imagine the reaction that is completely plausible now, but it hasn't actually happened. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. What's next, Joel?
Oh, man. So I want to do a recommendation, and that is the movie Bad Trip with Eric Andre, Lil Ray Howery, I think his name is, and Tiffany Haddish. I have heard people talk about Eric Andre forever. I think he's local, too.
He's originally from Boca, I think. Yeah.
Okay.
I've seen him perform down here at Respectables in
Oh, wow. I mean, I'd never seen any of his comedy, never, I've just heard of him, and people always talked about him, but it was just something that was never much on my radar outside of that. But he's got this new movie, Bad Trip, on Netflix, and it's very much in, like, the style of Borat or those Sacha Baron Cohen movies where he's kind of playing this character and they're going through some story, but it's all skits that are based in real life with hidden cameras and just all this crazy shit that ensues. It's
cringe humor.
Fucking, huh?
Cringe humor.
Cringe or fringe?
Cringe.
Oh, I guess.
It makes you kind of go, ooh. 'Cause that's what he's all about, is to make people feel uncomfortable.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay, because like that fucking word cringe gets so overused lately. Everyone's like, "Oh, that's cringy." It's like, oh, it's anyway. But man, I was fucking howling on the couch last night watching this shit. Just in tears, laughing, and just when I thought like the movie was getting a little slow, or maybe this is like, you know, so many comedies like fail to hit the finish. You know, they'll be real funny for a bit, and then when it comes time to the climax, you know, it might be some like corny fucking courtroom drama, or, you know, so many movies have done that. But like, just when I was thinking like, wow, I think this is getting slow, all of a sudden something so fucking outrageous happens, and I'm just howling all over again. And Tiffany Haddish is fucking brilliant. Just what a great comedic actress. She just envelops all of these characters that she does, and it just truly incredible. Actually just won a Grammy for her comedy album, and real touching video online of her like finding out about it and like crying. It's a really nice video. But man, just what an unexpected, hilarious comedy. Haven't laughed that hard in a long time, and I hope everyone checks it out.
Awesome. I'm gonna have to go add it onto my list now. Well, after the show, not right now.
Would your wife enjoy it?
Probably. She, when I went to go see him perform, it was one of our early on dates, like when we first started dating, and she was the one who recommended it. So I know that she's a fan of Eric Andre. So I'm surprised that she hasn't even said anything about it.
Mine wasn't laughing very much. I mean, she was enjoying it and like she got it, but I mean, if you compared the two of us laughing, like I was, you know, I was doing like 99% of the laughing.
I'm here on this podcast about to say something probably any loyal listener never expected me to say. I found some seltzer I enjoy. Last weekend, some of my wife's friends, a couple of my wife's friends came over to see our new house, brought their dog along so that our dogs could play, and they brought over the Cigar City Seltzer Mix Pack that was orange, lemon, key lime, and ruby red grapefruit. And I decided, you know what? I'm gonna give these a try. Throughout our Sunday afternoon, I tried all four of them. And I can say, I thoroughly enjoyed 3 out of 4 of them. Not a big fan of the orange one. It is what it is. But the lemon, my favorite. Grapefruit, very good. Key lime, very good. Now, why? They're not sweet fucking messes like almost every other seltzer that I tried. They tasted like the thing that they said they were, and they're bone fucking dry, highly carbonated. Like, they tasted like just bubbly water, like real seltzer. Like, you could have handed me that in a glass next to, like, hand me that ruby red grapefruit and pamplemousse from LaCroix, and I would have probably been like, oh, these are just 2 different grapefruit seltzers. Like, what's this one? Aha or bubbly or whatever. They were good, and on a slightly warm day, were very refreshing. So kudos, Cigar City, for making seltzers that I actually enjoy. I know I wasn't the one that you were trying to impress with this, but I was very impressed.
That's crazy. I like that you found one that not only you can tolerate, but like actually really enjoy. I still haven't gotten to try those, so they're on the list once I get past all the other shit in my fridge out there.
And they're
I also
available
haven't
at
really
my
seen it
local
around.
Publix,
I know it's
too.
out there, but it hasn't been in any stores I've been to.
Who? What? That one?
Yeah.
Okay. I see that the Topo Chico ones are starting to hit the market now too. Although when I saw the flavors that when they got released, not all that thrilled by them because I don't like pineapple as a fruit or a flavor. I'm not crazy about mango, so that one goes out the window. Lemon lime, sure, I'll give that a try. And I can't remember what the last one was, but the lemon lime one was the only one that really caught me as like, okay, cool, I'll try that. And I saw some mixed reviews from people online. Like it seems to be the consensus is do not go into this expecting Topo Chico because it's not. So I guess that's a thing that I will have to keep in mind when I do try it.
Are any of the flavors the same as the regular flavor? Like are the alcoholic flavors the same as the regular shit they put out?
The only flavors that they put out on the regular line is lime and grapefruit.
Okay.
So strawberry guava, that's the other flavor. So none of these really fall in line with their regular line.
See, I love bubbly, just the regular, not hard, the flaccid sparkling water and all those flavors. And they came out with a caffeinated version, and I was like, holy fuck, yes. And today was the first day in like weeks that I've had coffee. Ever since I found the caffeinated bubbly, I've been drinking nothing but that in the mornings. But, and you don't have to worry about like brewing coffee or doing your fucking French press or, K-cups, all that horse shit. Like,
or just
no
buying
coffee
from
breath,
a store.
Just, the fucking caffeinated bubbly. But what they did was they came out with like 3 flavors that aren't even normal flavors.
Yeah.
So it's like if your favorite is the blackberry or the mango or whatever, like you're not getting that. It's like grapefruit, blood orange, or triple berry, whatever the hell that is. I mean, you think
I thought I remember seeing like a green
try
tea
triple berry.
flavored one for the caffeinated ones.
Tea?
Yeah, like a green tea flavored one.
I thought I saw that in the AHA water.
Oh, maybe that was what I was thinking.
Yeah.
I remember seeing those one time at like it was either Target or it was probably Target because I feel like they have more beverages along their checkout lanes. But I was like, whoa, that's an interesting flavor. Oh, it's caffeinated. Interesting. I had already had my coffee for that day, so I didn't buy one. But I'm intrigued by that and want to try some of those, but. I never really think of it when I'm at the store because I have a good coffee shop that I live by, so I buy my coffee from them a lot. I probably don't need to spend as much money on coffee as I do, but I've gotten to know all of the employees and the owner, and it's like I know I'm giving my money to a small business that I like.
Cool.
Joel.
Well, shit. Speaking of consumable liquids, as if that's not a topic constantly on this fucking show, I did do a 3-day juice cleanse. I don't know if I would call this a recommendation since, this is something a little more along the lines of like health and everybody's different and shit like that. But did it on the recommendation of my brother, actually. He had done one before. And I was like, you know what? I haven't been healthy in a long fucking time. Let me just see what this is about, and I'll take a chance and do the 3-day one. So I ordered this juice pack from Raw Generation. It's a one of those juice companies online, just like so many of them are called like Raw this or Juice that. There's a fucking 1,000 of them, but I chose this one because this is the one he went through last time, and I did like the protein pack version because I knew I couldn't be like shitty and tired and like undernourished if I'm brewing all week. So got the protein version. There were a couple of smoothie type juices in there. The vanilla cashew tasted just like a fucking liquid Cinnabon. It was like vanilla cashew, maybe like some other kind of nut milk, cinnamon. It blew my mind, like how much it tasted like a milkshake. But first 2 days, I was very skeptical of all this, but first 2 days I was just kind of like shitty and impatient, like waiting for the good feeling to kick in, and feel lighter on my feet or less bloated or whatever you're supposed to get out of it. And I wasn't so hangry as much as I was just like, I could have, like, because this shit was like $100. And I'm like, I could have spent $100 on, chicken breast and fucking vegetables and prepped fucking weeks of meals with, the money I spent on 18 bottles of goddamn juice. But, day 3, fucking incredible. I felt like I was on just rocket fuel. I did put like a little shot of cold brew concentrate into 2 of the smoothie ones for like my first couple of the day on the 3rd day, and I'm sure the little caffeine boost had a bit to do with it, but man, I was like focused, energized, super fucking energized, like sweating for no reason, but like not in a bad, like he's gonna stroke out kind of way. Really felt the best I had in 2 years. Couldn't believe it. I thought maybe somebody spiked the shit with like MDMA or something, but like I said, I'm not recommending it. I'm just saying, maybe if you want to do like a little 3-day reset, or I think they do like 5 days, 7 days, you can make all sorts of different packs, try your own thing, put together your own flavors. But it's interesting, and I felt so goddamn good on that 3rd day. I thought to myself, maybe this will be a thing I do like quarterly, just like a little week-long reset. And I mean, I wish I had kept up with it, because by the time it came for me to eat again, I think the day after I stopped juicing, I got a fucking Jets pizza and I ate half of it, and man, did I throw that shit up everywhere. My body was like, fuck you. I should have eased back into it, but 3 days on juice, it's like, all right, I need some goddamn food. But man, I felt incredible. And I like I said, I don't know if I recommend it. It might be something to look at if you're stuffing nothing but shit down your gullet and want to feel a little bit better.
Man, context is everything with so much of what you were saying about juicing and being on juice.
Yeah,
if this were a sports podcast, have completely different meanings, everything that you just said in the same manner.
If anybody's juicing, it's fucking Bobby Bump, man. Did you see that photo today?
Dude's fucking ripped.
Looks like an action figure.
Yeah. And congratulations on your new son, Bob.
I almost wanted to be like, dude, teach me.
Dude. Speaking of words and context, cold IPA is not a thing. Words fucking matter. Words have meaning. The A means ale. Lagering, using lager yeast, is not ale. It's an IPL. We get that IPL didn't really work as a marketing term. Come up with something different. I think it was I can't remember who it was on Twitter that said that they brewed a hoppy lager and called it like Northwest lager because they're in the Pacific Northwest, and it was like that was their term to use for it. And I thought that was a cool term for that instead of using IPL. Like we are getting into our this is a sad thing about our world in general, is that words don't seem to matter to people anymore. Their meanings, their definitions. People are flipping stuff and trying to, not just for marketing play, but in political play. Like Words matter. They have meaning. They have definitions. Stop fucking ruining them. I get that black IPA is the same way. Use Cascadian Dark Ale for all I fucking care. I don't care. That is probably a better term. But the A and the L are not interchangeable. I'm sorry.
I'm glad you explained that whole thing, because once that popped up on the internet, I kept scrolling. I'm like, oh, here's another new beer style that I don't know anything about and everyone's arguing about already. Like, I feel like there shouldn't be an argument until everyone's tried one. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
nobody I know made one, and it seemed like it came and went faster than fucking brute IPAs, and Christ, I think people had their fucking worst beer blog avatar longer than cold IPA was a thing. But yeah, I know you say words matter, and I feel like they do, but like too many people think they don't, or don't even give it the thought to say they don't. Like, I don't know even why we have style guidelines anymore, if anything, for just competitions.
Yeah.
Like, everyone's just going to fucking do what they want anyway. And I've seen so much preposterous shit that's just like, well, no, that's not what that is. So why call it that? Like, it's just getting really weird. And like I said, I skip past that whole cold app. I mean, so what if it were an IPA brewed with ale yeast, but like at super cold fucking temperatures?
Isn't that what a Kolsch is?
But I mean, like, with an IPA hop profile.
I guess, yeah.
And is this I'm assuming it's supposed to be like a clear beer?
Yeah.
With cold and,
Yeah.
Because we're going to get a hazy cold.
Probably.
If you called it a cold hazy, it could be a chippa. CHIPA. Ugh, and then someone will brew Chip Ahoy with a fucking bunch of cookies in it. See, like, it does that sounds like April Fool's parody, but
yeah.
People listening right now are going, yeah, someone's going to make that. Or no, my local brewery already made it. That's ridiculous.
All of this kind of reminds me of on April Fool's April 1st, Notch Brewing announced they were releasing a pastry stout for real, but it was like a 3.5% stout that is based on like a Polish pastry, and they're in a highly Polish neighborhood. And my coworker and we were talking about it, and we're like, they should just call it Imperial. Like, who's to say that Imperial means high ABV? Just be like, here's a 3.5% Imperial pastry stout. We say it's Imperial just because we think it's grand. Because people are like, they don't care about the meanings of words. And it wouldn't be far-fetched if that was a thing that happened. The word Imperial doesn't mean like high gravity anymore.
Yeah, I've seen Imperial misused. I've seen sessionable misused. Like, on a can, a sessionable 7.5%. Like, what? Like, whose session is this? Andre the Giant's?
Yeah, that guy could session. This is my last one that I want to put out there. So if Joel has like 7 more, like, he can rapid fire or something. But
yep.
March, I'm glad that I decided to take March off from podcasting, because this month fucking kicked my ass at work. We produced more beer in March than any month since I've worked for this brewery, and I've been there for almost a year and a half now. And that includes a South Florida season for the most part prior to COVID. November, December, January, February, all that are prime time months usually for South Florida production. As we get snowbirds coming down, people escaping their cold weather climates, we killed it. We crushed it. But it still kicked the shit out of us, and I'm very happy to, especially after this last week, we had more brew days in a week than we have in a long time. We brewed 4 out of 5 days. We had a big canning run on the other day, and we kicked ass, and I am glad to be taking a break from it because I fucking need these couple days to recover from a long, busy week of making some good beer that I love. And I put this out on Twitter, and I heard other people concur with having similar experiences of kick-ass months for March. And to everyone who fucking killed it in March, fucking awesome. Cheers to you. I applaud you. Like, it's an unfortunate thing that what I'm going to say, but we live in Florida. We're wide the fuck open, and we can't use the excuse of pandemic anymore. Because people are out there drinking, people are out there buying beer and dining and whatnot. Probably not at the numbers that they used to, but they're back out there. And if we're not producing for those places, someone else is. And we don't have a sales rep out in the market, so we're doing all of this by just trying to work the best that we can with our distributor. And we're up in our year over year for the first 3 months of this year by a good bit, and I'm proud of that, and hopefully see some good growth this year. And cheers to everyone who is seeing their breweries recovering right now, and who is kicking ass and taking names to produce beer, because you've earned a big cheers. You've earned some extra shifties or some 6-packs to take home, or crowlers or growlers or whatever. Tell your boss that Mike from United We Drink said you earned it, and if they have a problem, don't send them my way. But it's great to see. It is still a little scary and a little bittersweet, but I'm happy to see people who work hard getting rewarded and getting seeing an increase in sales and production and all of that. So awesome and kick ass, everybody.
I almost wanted to see about, if you wanted to make this like a mental health episode again, because of, I kind of had a feeling you were going to bring that up and the worst beer blog stuff, and then something that probably would have ended up being my last call, which is this. And that's, I guess, kind of a good way to, I'm almost in tandem with you on that, because not so much the job now, but a previous job. I feel like, and I put something out on Twitter where I said, I've never been in combat, but I feel like I have PTSD from this one job. And so many, cool fucking people replied, and they were like, no, that's fucking trauma. You went through some shit, and you don't have to, be on the front lines of a war to, experience bad shit and still be reeling from it. So, I appreciate everybody saying that. It felt like such a kind of pussy thing to say, or use the words trauma or PTSD, because it's I'm alive, I'm functioning, I'm fine, and obviously on to bigger and better things, but I feel like the further I get from this one job and the distance I have from it now, I'm able to look back at it through kind of a different lens, and even though I'm further from it, I feel like I see it in more detail now, and even things I could have done differently, or situations I could have changed, and shit like that. whenever I think of this fucking place, it just bothers the shit out of me, and not in the usual way. Not when you think about like, an ex-girlfriend or, a lost loved one or just, some terrible shit on a bad day. Like, it's this weird, like, just shitty overall, like, like, why can't I just not think about, like, I don't know how to explain it really. Like, it's kind of like when you look at a certain food that is going to, like, give you heartburn and shit. Like, exactly how you're going to feel after you eat this particular food because you've felt that way 1,000 times before. And it's like a very particular shitty feeling I get thinking about this place and everything that happened, and like how badly, like, it doesn't feel resolved in a way. Like, you kind of want to tell someone to go fuck themselves. And like, the place is for sale now and everything, so it's going to be totally different and out of, ownership's hands and everything like that, as it fucking should be. But it's like, of all the jobs I've had and all, it's not like I haven't moved on, because I have. It's just like, this fucking one, could have been so great, and it ended up, it's like, do you ever, when you're like, you'll see me like tweeting about stocks and fucking cryptocurrency and shit like that, and there's so many different like animated GIFs or GIFs that you could, of like a rocket, so there's like one of like a naked guy jumping into a lake, and just as he's about to jump in the lake, like a rocket fires out of his ass and he shoots up off the screen, or like Doge going to the moon, all that kind of stuff. And so if you search rocket, there's one where like someone has a rocket strapped to them and they go up and they immediately come crashing right the fuck down. And like, that's what that place feels like. And like, now that it's being sold, I've got so many people coming to me. And like, I had a real shitty day because it was like 2 days in a row of having to talk to people about this place. And, I was trying to be helpful and like let them know what the deal is and everything, but just having to conjure up all that bullshit again wasn't any good for me. And it's like, I don't, like, in a way, it's like, I don't want to talk about it. I hope the fucking place, I hope an airplane falls on it, like, not full of people, like, maybe, let's say the pilot, hit the ejector seat. Yeah. Or just, I don't wish anything good for that fucking place. Like, people have asked me, like, under the ideal situation, would you ever go back in there and just fire it all back up? And I'm like, no, fuck no. I don't even want to step foot anywhere near it. It's that toxic. It feels like walking into a room where someone was fucking murdered. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And, but, I'm trying to figure out ways of, I mean, I don't really know a way to get past it, but it's like, I just want to fucking put it behind me, and I feel like hopefully that'll happen once someone else takes it over, rather than it just sitting dormant when, like, I know I didn't fucking do anything to put it out of business.
So he's trying to sell it and also lease it at the same time, like sell the equipment to a person and then lease it right there, not to take the equipment out.
I've heard different things. I've heard people being interested in the place with the equipment. I've heard people wanting to buy the equipment, and just like with who was it? Tarpon River had Bruzy, West Palm's old system, like that sort of situation. So I've heard different things. I'm sure, based on selling price, it's really up to the owner's discretion of like how he wants to do it. I would imagine he'd never let that building go, considering the location. And, I'm sure somebody could put up a hotel there if they wanted to one day, so.
Yeah.
And he's got other properties too that, is that kind of same deal. Like, oh, like, if I hold on to it, like something big in this neighborhood could happen, and then, flip it or whatever. But obviously a savvy business person, but not in any fucking brewery or restaurant sense. But I don't know. I'm so tired of like these fucking ghosts of it coming back to me. People asking about it and shit, and like just the website's gone, so like people can't even go to it and look at anything, what used to be there or whatever. And if you go to Facebook, it's just nothing but this fucking guy working out in the parking lot and eating fucking food.
And even when there was posts about stuff going on there, there's 25 celebrities, sports teams, businesses being tagged in the bottom of the post because he believed that that was a way to gain exposure through
Yeah,
fucking social media.
yeah.
We drove by there today. We were going to go have lunch somewhere downtown. We were just driving through downtown and ended up driving by there. Had some fucking bomb ass curry wings from O'Shea's Irish Pub on Clematis Street. Shout out to them. But yeah, and driving by, saw some people just like faces up against the window, kind of like looking in, and it's like that's like the best. I wish I could have taken a picture. Like that just sums up that place because it's such a great spot and a good building, and you did so much to that place and created some good memories for yourself. So like I remember you saying that you were kind of upset for a little bit hearing about the sale of the equipment, and I said you had every right to be for a little bit. Like you did such great things there. I was fucking honored to be a part of that for a couple months, and I feel like the beers that we cranked out in those couple months were some of my favorite beers that I was ever a part of. And you have every right to feel down, feel a little sad, but you don't let it keep you down. You have that moment, and then you go, all right, time to get back on with my life and get things back going. Let's get back to work. So yeah, I mean, something might happen, something might not happen, but you know what? That motherfucker missed out on a good thing. He truly thought that he was the reason for that place. And you know what? If you want to look at financially, yes, that is true. But you made the beer that people kept on coming back to have. The cooks made the food that made people keep on coming back. He had nothing to do with that. I would even gander to say that all of the GMs before you had nothing to do with that. And it's a squandered opportunity, but not by you. And you should be proud of what you did do there. And don't let that shit keep you down for long.
And it doesn't, and I appreciate that. It's like I said, it's a weird feeling I don't really know how to describe. It's just kind of gross, and like just the mention of the place kind of makes me feel gross. But like, I don't get sad. I never cried over it or anything like that. It just fucked me up, you know, like such a trajectory, and then all of a sudden dead. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right. So that's your last call for this.
That is
episode.
the last. Well, I could do like
call
a quick,
of the last call episode.
I'll do a quick. That was really my response to your thing in what would have been like a last call for me anyway, kind of thing. But since you said I had a few things left, and I know we're going over here a little bit, but I'll do a little rapid fire thing real quick because I got a couple things on my list. Don't get the lemonade at Chipotle, this organic fucking whatever it is. It's garbage. It looks nice. It's in like a little glass bottle. It's just shit. Like, I don't know how you can make shit lemonade, but here we are. IMUSA or IMUSA, whatever this company is that makes like pots and pans and shit like that. I bought one of their nonstick double burner griddle type things. Instead of having to make like pancakes in one pan or like bacon one pan at a time, like I can knock out a whole pack of bacon on this thing. Anyway, also like completely metal, so you can put it in the oven and bake on it and shit. First fucking time I used this thing, it just warped, and it warped in such a way that it might as well be a bowl now. And I tweeted these fucking guys like, "Hey, bought your shit, used your shit once, and now it's fucked." And they never replied, so fuck them. Don't buy any of their stuff.
By Made In.
What's that?
Made In cookware.
Made in?
Yeah, 2 words. Made In.
That's what you're recommending?
Yeah.
Okay.
Allie bought their like saute pan maybe about 6 months ago. We now have baking trays, the saute pan, saucepans. Like we have, they're stainless steel and carbon fiber. We just got not carbon fiber, blue carbon pans last week, and I need to season them. We have wok from them, fucking incredible. Like this, it's not cheap. I will say that it is not cheap. They do not sponsor this show, but Made In stuff is fucking good. Really, really, really good cookware, and I have had nothing but great experiences with their stuff.
Well, I got to put that on the list next to your Global Knives. So I was looking
fucking
at knives
Global
again today.
Knives. Yeah.
And definitely check out Crumble Cookies if you can. Those things are fucking amazing. They're huge, but really good cookies. It's Crumble without an E at the end because, you know, it used to be fucking...
If you could see his face, it pained him. He rolled his eyes, then closed his eyes and looked down. Like, oh, people who purposely misspell words.
Well, it's like, you know, not that long ago in the extreme era of everything in the late 90s and early 2000s, anything that was plural had to end with a Z, not an S.
Yeah.
Like, DiGiorno can't sell fucking frozen pizza and wings without spelling it W-Y-N-G-Z. It's like, we know they're wings. Nothing is unique about you spelling it that way. But, so what's the deal with it? Yeah, but Crumble without an E, because nowadays you have to remove some vowel to be unique.
Because you can trademark that then. For real.
But yeah, amazing cookies. Not Mrs. Fields. I don't know where the fuck she went, but she needs to make a comeback. And not that store-bought bullshit. I'm talking about the real food court fucking nibblers. And even though I don't do thoughts and prayers to DMX. He OD'd last night. Hopefully he pulls through. And Matt Gaetz, you are going to jail. Fuck you.
Yeah. Fuck off. All right. Well, I think it's about time to wrap things up here. Joel, any quick plugs that you want to throw out there?
Joel Brews on Twitter, Florida Brewer on Instagram, and you'll see Raoul Brews next to my Twitter name because the local pizza place thinks Joel is Raoul.
Fucking great. I love that. You can follow me at Mike Loves Beer on Instagram and Twitter. I'm going to shout out the brewery that I work for, Copper Point Brewing Company. Follow us on Twitter at Copper Point Brew and Instagram at Copper Point Brewing Company. I know that that's a long name, not my say on that, but I've been really happy with a lot of the pictures that I've been putting out recently, and I just want to share that with as many people as possible. So if you want to go follow us and if you like nice pictures of beer and stuff, awesome.
You've been taking great pictures lately.
What?
Your pictures have been great lately. Like
Thanks,
I really feel like it's on par with so many of the great accounts we follow and stuff like that.
Jesus Christ.
Vast improvement.
I don't deserve that, but
well, I didn't name anyone.
I know, but I know some of the ones that you're thinking of, but it's what I aspire to, at least. You can follow the show at United We Drink on Twitter, at United We Drink Pod on Instagram, and you can subscribe to the show on any of the major podcast services: Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, Google Podcasts, Amazon Music. We're on all of them. If you are on Apple Podcasts, if you can rate the show and write a little review, it is greatly appreciated. I've seen some people right before that we took a break do so, and it is greatly appreciated. I mean, you can just write like Team Joel, like for all I care, as long as it has a 5-star rating next to it. I'm cool with that. Go for it. Do it. And if you want to support the show financially, check out some of our sponsors on our website, unitedwedrink.com/sponsors. We also have a web store where you can get shirts, buttons, stickers, masks, a bunch of other cool stuff. unitedwedrink.com/store. And other than that, we will be back in another 2 weeks. We're back into the grind of things every 2 weeks with a new episode, barring technical difficulties. We'll see you then. Cheers, everybody.
Cheers.